This video is about circles and particularly problem-solving questions when you have an axis as a tangent. So here's our first example, and we've got a circle and we've got the y-axis, and the y-axis is a tangent to the circle in this question. And this means that the y-axis just touches the circle at one point. If I ever have a y-axis as a tangent, I can draw a line perpendicular to the y-axis, so a horizontal line that goes through the centre, and it will meet the tangent at the point where the tangent and the circle meet. In this case, I know that the centre point is 2, 4, so I know that in order to get from the y-axis to the centre point, I have to go across 2 spaces. And so this tells me the radius of the circle. So the radius is 2. I must also find the equation. I'm first of all going to make a note of the formula. So I need to know my centre, which I do. It's 2, 4. I'm going to call that HK. And I need to know r, which is the radius, which we've just found out. So r is 2. And now I can just simply substitute those values into my equation formula. To tidy up then, I'll just square the 2 and I'm finished. And the equation is x minus 2 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 4. Here's a second example. In this example, the x-axis is the tangent, and I'm told the circle has a centre at -1, -3. So I'm going to first of all mark where the circle and the x-axis are tangents, and then I'm going to draw a line down from that perpendicularly. And that will go to the centre. I know that the centre point is -1, -3. So I know that to get from the x-axis down to this point, I had to come down 3 spaces. Now I know it's -3 in the point, but the actual distance that I travelled is 1, 2, 3 spaces. And so that's my radius. And it's just important to note that your radius will always be a positive value. Now that I've found the radius and I know the centre, I can find the equation. I have my formula noted. I've labelled H, K and R, and I fill into the formula, and just notice again those double negatives. So when I tidy this up, I'll have an equation of x plus 1 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 9. So here's a third example. In this case, both the axes are tangents, and the circle has a radius of 5. I want to find its centre this time, and then I want to find its equation. First thing that I notice is that the centre of the circle is going to have to be in this quadrant. And that's the first quadrant. And of course, in the first quadrant, all x and y values are positive. So I'm expecting positives in my centre. I also know with the case of a circle which has an axis as the tangent, I can mark where the circle and the axis meet, and I can draw a line perpendicular from the axis to the centre, just like I've done here. Now, I know in this case that the radius is 5, so I know that I've come across a distance of 5 to the centre, and I've gone up a distance of 5 to the centre. And straight away, that tells me that my centre must be the point 5, 5. And now I have plenty of information to find the equation of the circle. I've got the centre that we just found and the radius that we've been told. I'll label those and fill them into the formula. And now I'll fill those values in. And all I have to do to finish off is just square that 5 at the end. Just one thing to watch out for in a question like this. Note that at the beginning of the question, I observed which quadrant my centre was in, and that let me know that my values should both be positive in my centre point. Obviously, if I was in a different quadrant on my coordinate plane, then I may have positive and negative values to take into consideration. So just watch out for that.